The mirror didn't look like her anymore. Elsa stared at the reflection in front of her, big dark brown eyes rimmed with a thin line of kohl, full lips trembling no matter how hard she pressed them together, and a gorgeous cocoa brown complexion that glowed under the hotel suite's warm lights. Her hair, normally wild and free, had been forced into a sleek low bun, decorated with pearl pins that glittered like small traps. The white silk bridal robe draped over her slim frame felt heavy, suffocating. She looked like a bride. But she didn't feel like one. Behind her, muffled voices drifted through the closed door. Everything is prepared. Her groom will arrive in an hour. Make sure she doesn't disappear. This marriage is too important. Elsa's stomach clenched. She gripped the edge of the vanity table. Her hands shook. She grabbed her phone and dialed her boyfriend, but he didn't pick up. Worried, she texted him everything that was happening and begged him to come save her. A moment later he replied, saying he was on his way and had only missed her call because he'd been busy and didn't have a chance to speak to her. Her parents despised him because of how poor he was, and it created a huge strain on their relationship. It made her boyfriend feel unworthy, so he stopped showing up at her house altogether. "This can't be my life," she whispered. 22 years old and being handed over like a business transaction. Like an object. Like something to be exchanged for land, money, and power. Her parents claimed it was tradition. Her aunties said she was lucky. And the media whispered rumors about her groom, Jin-Woo Kong, the cold, dangerous heir of the Seoul Mafia syndicate. A man whose smile could freeze hell and whose name made grown men swallow their pride. He had never met him. Never even spoken to him. Yet today she was expected to walk down the aisle and tie herself to him forever. A soft knock sounded. "Elsa." Her mother's voice. Calm, controlled. Too controlled. "Are you almost ready, sweetheart?" Elsa didn't answer. Her mother didn't wait. The door opened and Mrs. Lawson stepped inside, elegant in her champagne gold gown. "You're not dressed yet." Her tone sharpened. "We don't have time for nerves. The Kong family has already. I don't want this marriage." Elsa turned around slowly. Her voice trembled, but she forced herself to meet her mother's eyes. "Mom, please. Please don't make me do this." Her mother exhaled heavily as if tired of repeating the same script. "We've talked about this. This union will elevate our family. It will secure our position. You should be grateful." "Grateful?" Elsa's voice cracked. "To marry a man I don't know? A man everyone is scared of? A man with blood on his hands?" Mrs. Lawson's jaw tightened. "Jin-Woo Kong has power. Influence. Protection. With him you'll never have to worry about anything." "I'm already worried," Elsa whispered. Her mother stepped closer, adjusting the pearl pin on her bun, smoothing her hair like Elsa was still a child. "Everything will be fine once you are his wife." Elsa flinched. Wife. Of a stranger. A mafia heir. Her chest tightened, breath coming faster. The walls of the suite felt like they were closing in on her. "Mom," her voice broke. "I can't do this." Mrs. Lawson's eyes softened, only for a second before hardening again. "This is bigger than you. Don't embarrass us today." She left the room with a sharp click of the door, locking Elsa in silence. Elsa stared at the door. A quiet, boiling dread grew in her chest, climbing up her throat like she was drowning. "If I walk down that aisle, I'm done." Her heartbeat hammered louder. Her breathing quickened. "Oh, I'm not a sacrifice. I'm not a pawn." Her bare feet touched the cold marble floor as she stepped backward, eyes darting around the room. The window. Too high. The security guards outside? Too many. But the suite had a back corridor, the one staff used. She had noticed it earlier. She tightened her robe, grabbed nothing but her courage and rushed toward the small service door. Her pulse roared in her ears. She pushed the door open and slipped into the empty hallway. Her breath hitched. She wasn't caught. Not yet. Her steps were frantic, silent, desperate as she hurried down the narrow corridor, past storage rooms and cleaning carts. She reached the exit door, shoved it open, and cold morning air slammed into her. Freedom. At least for the moment. Elsa ran. Barefoot. Heart pounding so hard it hurt. Her robe flapped behind her as she sprinted across the parking area behind the hotel, looking frantically for a place to hide. Footsteps and voices echoed from a distance. "They're looking for me," she whispered, panic flooding her limbs. She scanned the row of sleek black cars lined under the shade. She needed somewhere, anywhere, to disappear. She spotted a black SUV with tinted windows, engine off, doors unlocked. Without thinking, she yanked the back door open and slipped inside, sinking to the floor behind the driver's seat. Her breaths were ragged, shaky. "Oh, okay," she whispered, hugging her knees to her chest. "Just stay quiet. They won't find you, they won't." The sound of a door closing on the other side. Her blood turned to ice. Slow, steady footsteps circled the SUV. The driver's door opened. Someone slid in. No, no, no. The engine started. Then a deep, calm voice filled the car. Interesting place to hide. Elsa froze. That voice, it wasn't the driver. It came from right behind her. Slowly, painfully slowly, she lifted her head. There he was. Sitting on the opposite end of the back seat, one leg crossed over the other, an expensive black suit hugging his broad shoulders. A silver watch glinted on his wrist. His long jet-black hair was slicked back, revealing a sharp jawline, high cheekbones, and cold, piercing eyes that studied her like a puzzle he already knew the answer to. Jinwoo Kong. Her groom. Her breath caught in her throat. He looked like danger crafted into human form. Calm, beautiful, deadly. A small, amused smirk tugged at his lips. "You picked the wrong car, sweetheart." Elsa's entire body went rigid. I didn't know, please let me out, I'll leave, I swear." Jinwoo tilted his head slightly, eyes never leaving her trembling form. "Running from me on our wedding day." He let out a soft, humorless laugh. "Bold." Elsa pressed herself against the door, hands shaking uncontrollably. "Let me go." Jinwoo leaned forward, one elbow resting on his knee as he studied her trembling lips, her wide eyes, the way she clutched her robe like a shield. "Why would I do that?" he murmured, "when chasing you already became the most interesting part of my morning?" Her breath hitched. He reached forward and pressed the center lock. The doors locked. Her heart dropped into her stomach. She was trapped. Jinwoo leaned back, gaze heavy, unreadable, and dangerously amused. "Relax," he said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you." His eyes gleamed. "Not unless you give me a reason." Elsa's breath stuck in her throat as Jinwoo watched her like she was a trembling deer caught in a hunter's trap. The car began moving, the tinted windows turning the outside world into a blur. "Driver," Jinwoo said calmly, not taking his eyes off her. "Go." "Why, yes, boss." Elsa's heartbeat thundered painfully. Where are you taking me?" Jinwoo's lips curved slightly, as if her fear entertained him. "Away from the wedding, obviously." Her throat went dry. "Why? Shouldn't you be angry? Shouldn't you be dragging me back there?" He raised a brow. "Do I look like a man who begs for a bride?" He didn't. He looked like a man who demanded what he wanted and took it without asking. But that didn't make sense. "Then why are you doing this?" she whispered. "Because you ran." His voice dropped lower, darker. "And I want to know why." Elsa tried to steady her breathing, gripping the door handle even though it was locked. "Because I don't want to marry you," she said, her voice barely holding together. A slow smile touched his lips, dangerous, sharp. "I know that," Jinwoo murmured. "I'm asking for the real reason." His eyes roamed over her trembling hands, her flushed cheeks, the robe slipping slightly down her shoulder revealing smooth brown skin. Heat pooled in her face, but she lifted her chin. "There is no real reason," she replied stiffly. "I don't want to be forced into anything. I don't even know you." Jinwoo leaned closer and she pressed back instinctively into the door. "Oh, you'll know me," he whispered. Her stomach twisted. His calmness was worse than anger. Meant he was in control. Meant she had none. She swallowed hard, refusing to let the tears prickling behind her eyes fall. "I'm not property," she whispered. "You can't just lock me in your car." Jinwoo blinked slowly, studying her with a curious tilt of his head. "Property." He chuckled under his breath. "I never said that." "Then let me go." "No." The word landed like a command. "A chain. A cage." Her voice cracked. "Why not?" "Because if I let you go," he said softly, "you'll run again. That's the point." His eyes sharpened, not in anger but amusement. "You're fascinating." "I'm terrified," she shot back. He considered that for a moment, then shifted slightly, resting his arm on the seat. Fear keeps people honest. And right now, sweetheart, I want honesty. She hugged her knees tighter. The robe slid open a little more, exposing the smooth line of her thigh. Jinwoo's eyes flicked downward for a fraction of a second. Her breath hitched. He looked away before she could read his expression, reaching for a bottle of water in the drink holder. You're shaking, he said simply. Drink. I don't want anything from you. His jaw tightened for the first time. It's just water. She hesitated. Her lips were dry. Her throat burned. She hadn't eaten all morning. Before she could move, Jinwoo opened the bottle and held it out. Take it. The firmness in his voice made her hand move before her mind processed it. She took the bottle quickly, brushing his fingers, warm, steady, unbothered. She gulped the water down desperately. Too fast. Jinwoo watched her throat move, eyes hooded. When she finished, he leaned back again, finger tapping lightly on his knee. Your parents looked quite distressed, he said casually. Guilt stabbed her chest. I don't care. You should. They spent months preparing. For a business deal, she spat. Not a marriage. Marriage is a business deal, he replied. Maybe for you. He didn't deny it. He simply looked at her as if she were a strange, fragile creature he wasn't sure what to do with. You humiliated them, he said. They humiliated me first, she snapped. Choosing my husband like I'm livestock. Silence stretched. Then Jinwoo said, Do you hate them that much? He stiffened. I never said I hate them. You ran out of your own wedding barefoot, wearing a robe, shaking like you escaped a crime scene, he said dryly. That wasn't a small disagreement. That was desperation. Her breath hitched. Why, you don't know anything about me. I will, he said simply. The certainty in his tone made her blood freeze. She wiped away a tear angrily. I don't want you to. Jinwoo didn't flinch. Want has nothing to do with it. Her hands balled into fists. She wanted to scream. She wanted to throw open the door and run until her lungs burst. She wanted to wake up from this nightmare. But the nightmare spoke again, voice low. When you ran, you changed everything, Elsa. She blinked. What does that mean? His gaze locked onto hers. It means the wedding is no longer about business. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Then what is it about? Jinwoo's voice dropped to a dark whisper. Now it's about you. Her breath caught. Me. You ran, he repeated softly. No one runs from me. His gaze lowered to her lips. And now I want to know why. Her pulse throbbed in her neck, her temples, everywhere. You're scaring me, she whispered. I know, he replied. He didn't apologize. He didn't soften. He simply reached out slowly, very slowly, and tucked a loose curl that escaped her bun behind her ear. His fingers brushed her cheek, sending a shiver across her skin. She jerked away instantly, pressing herself against the door. His eyes warmed just slightly. You're not fragile, he said quietly. Good. I'm not yours, she whispered, voice trembling. Jinwoo smirked faintly. Not yet. Her stomach knotted. Suddenly the SUV slowed. She tensed. Where are we going? She demanded. Home. Her blood chilled. You're home. He nodded once. No, she whispered. Jinwoo, Mr. Kong, please, I don't want to go with you. His tone cut clean through her panic. Come. Unshakable. I didn't ask what you wanted. Her eyes stung with hot tears. You can't do this, she said, voice breaking. This is kidnapping. Not kidnapping, he corrected. You're my bride. I didn't agree to. You did, he said simply. By our parents' agreement. She felt something inside her crack. You're twisting this. He didn't respond. The car slowed again, pulling into an underground garage with metal gates. Hidden. Private. Elsa's breath shattered. Jinwoo, she whispered, panic clawing up her throat. Don't do this, please. He looked at her, then really looked at her, disheveled, beautiful, terrified, trembling in her silk robe. And something dark flashed across his face. Flaming. This morning, he said softly, I didn't care whether this marriage happened or not. Her heart pounded painfully. But the moment you ran? His voice deepened. You made me care. The driver parked. Silence wrapped the car in tension thick enough to choke. Jinwoo leaned in close, his breath warm against her ear, his voice a quiet, dangerous promise. "And now, sweetheart," he whispered, "you're not going anywhere." He opened the door beside him and stepped out. Elsa froze. Two of his men approached immediately, tall and expressionless. Jinwoo looked over his shoulder at her. "Come." Her lips trembled. "And if I don't?" His eyes glinted. "Then I'll come and get you myself." The underground garage felt colder than the morning air she escaped from. Concrete. Steel. Shadows that moved like they belonged to dangerous men. Elsa stood frozen in the back seat of the SUV, still gripping the door handle even though the lock had already clicked open. Her mind screamed at her to run, but her body refused to move. Jinwoo stood outside the car, one hand casually in his pocket, the other resting against the open door he had stepped out of. His black suit fit his broad frame almost too perfectly, danger wrapped in tailored elegance. His dark hair was pushed back, not a strand out of place. His eyes were on her. Steady. Unblinking. Expectant. "Come," he repeated, voice calm but heavy with unspoken command. Elsa shook her head weakly. "I don't want to go anywhere with you." One corner of his mouth lifted, not a smile but something darker. "You're still misunderstanding something." He swallowed. "Hard. What? This isn't a negotiation." Her entire body trembled. "No," she whispered. Two of Jinwoo's men stepped closer. Not hostile, not grabbing her, but simply waiting in case she tried something stupid. That made it worse. Elsa pushed herself farther into the seat, back hitting the leather. "You can't force me to live with you. You can't just take me." Jinwoo didn't blink. "I'm not forcing you. You literally trapped me in your car." "Exactly." He leaned slightly toward her, voice lower. "Meaning you have no other place to go." Her heart hammered painfully. He extended his hand. Not aggressively, just open, palm up, like she was expected to place hers in it. Her lips parted. "I'm not going with you." "Then I'll carry you," he said simply. Her breath hitched. You wouldn't." He tilted his head as if amused she still didn't understand what kind of man he was. "Try me." Her lungs burned. She glanced at the two men behind him. They weren't threatening her, just waiting. That was somehow scarier. Jinwoo stepped closer to the car, his tall frame blocking her only exit. "Elsa." His voice softened, became a dangerous whisper. "You ran once. You won't run again." Her legs felt weak. Still shaking, she slowly started sliding out of the SUV, refusing to touch the hand he offered. Jinwoo watched her with a look that was unreadable. A mix of irritation and admiration. Like he wasn't used to being refused, but also liked that she tried. Bare feet touched cold concrete. Her skin prickled instantly. She looked small beside him, shivering in nothing but a silk robe, bun messy from running, curls escaping everywhere. Her dark brown skin glowed under the dim lights, warm against the harsh gray surroundings. Her long legs were exposed beneath the short robe, trembling. Jinwoo's eyes traveled over her slowly. Not lustful. Not gentle. But claiming. As if she had already been chosen. He removed his jacket suddenly. Elsa flinched when he stepped closer, but he didn't touch her. He simply draped the expensive black jacket over her shoulders. It swallowed her. It almost reached her knees. She stared at him. "I don't want." "You're cold," he said, voice clipped. "Stop arguing." "I can take care of myself," she snapped. He raised a brow. "You ran barefoot into a Mafia car." Heat burned her cheeks. "I didn't know it was your car." His lips twitched. It was still stupid. She hated how her heart reacted to his voice. Low, calm, infuriatingly steady. She hated how close he was. She hated that he smelled expensive, clean, sharp cologne and a hint of something darker, something only he could smell like. His jacket was warm on her skin. That made it worse. Jinwoo turned and began walking toward the elevator without looking back. His men followed. He didn't check if she was coming. He didn't need to. Elsa stood shaking for 3 long seconds. Then stumbled after him, the cold floor biting into her feet. She caught up just as the elevator doors opened. Jinwoo stepped inside first. The 2 guards stayed out, but as she moved to stand as far from him as possible, Jinwoo lifted a hand. "Come here." She froze. I'm standing. Closer. Her throat tightened. Why? You're not dressed to be pressed against cold metal, he said. Elsa looked down at her bare legs, then at the elevator wall. He was right, it was freezing. So she didn't move. I'm fine here. He didn't argue. He simply reached out, took her wrist gently but firmly, and pulled her closer until she was standing right beside him, his body heat brushing her arm. Her pulse tripped. Let go, she whispered, voice unsteady. He dropped her wrist immediately. Her breath caught again. You listen better when you're scared, Jinwoo murmured, eyes forward. She looked at him sharply. Are you trying to terrify me? No, he said. I'm trying to understand you. By kidnapping me? By watching how you react. She bit her lip, terrified and furious at the same time. So what have you learned? He finally looked at her. That gaze, cold, calculating, slid over her face like he was reading every flicker of emotion she couldn't hide. You're not weak, he said. Her breath stilled. You're terrified, he added softly. But you're fighting anyway. A strange warmth crawled beneath her fear. He hated that warmth. Hated that he could see through her so easily. What does that have to do with anything? She muttered. Jinwoo's voice lowered. It means you're going to be a problem. The elevator pinged and opened. Jinwoo stepped out first. Elsa hesitated, but the hallway was empty, unfamiliar and cold. He followed. The corridor led to a single door, tall, reinforced, elegant. Jinwoo typed a code. The lock beeped. He pushed the door open and stepped aside. Elsa's breath halted. A penthouse. Glass walls. A breathtaking view of the city skyline. Expensive black marble floors. Minimalist, cold, beautiful and terrifyingly quiet. Nothing about it felt like home. Felt like power. Jinwoo's power. Elsa didn't move. Jinwoo watched her, unreadable. Go inside. I don't want. Inside, Elsa. His tone wasn't loud. It wasn't sharp. It was final. Her hands shook but her feet moved. She stepped into the penthouse like a condemned prisoner crossing a threshold she couldn't come back from. The door clicked shut behind her. Elsa whipped around. Jinwoo stood there, loosening the cuffs of his shirt, gaze locked on her. Welcome home, he said quietly. Fear pulsed through her like electricity. This is not my home. Her voice cracked. I don't belong here. Jinwoo stepped closer, slow, unhurried, every movement deliberate. You belong, he murmured, exactly where I put you. Her back hit the wall before she realized she was moving. Jinwoo stopped a few inches away, tall enough to shadow her, close enough for her to feel the warmth of his breath. His eyes dropped to her lips. Then to the robe barely clinging to her shoulder. Then to her bare legs beneath his jacket. His voice brushed her skin like a warning and a promise. You ran from me once, he said softly. You won't run again. Elsa's heartbeat wouldn't slow. It drummed so hard she felt dizzy, her breath coming in shallow, panicked bursts. Jinwoo stood impossibly close, his presence pressing into her space like a second skin. You won't run again, he murmured. Elsa forced air into her lungs. You can't decide my life for me. His head tilted slightly, studying her like she'd said something unfamiliar. I already did. The quiet certainty in his voice made her stomach twist. She shoved at his chest instinctively, not with strength but with desperation. Don't talk to me like I'm your possession. Jinwoo didn't stumble, didn't even sway. Her palms pressed against solid muscle, hard, warm, terrifyingly steady. He simply looked down at her, hands on him, then lifted his eyes back to her trembling face. Possession, he echoed softly. No. Her breath caught. Your responsibility. That somehow felt worse. Elsa jerked her hands back like she'd touched fire. I don't want to be responsible to you. I don't want to be. Too late. His voice was calm but something sharp lived underneath. Elsa's eyes burned. I never agreed to marry you. My father forced it. And now I'm forcing it, Jinwoo replied plainly. Her knees weakened. He watched it happen. You're shaking, he said quietly. No, I'm not. But she was. The fear, the cold, the exhaustion, the reality, it all crashed into her at once. Her legs buckled. Jinwoo moved so fast she didn't see it, only felt his hands catch her waist, strong and warm, steadying her before she hit the floor. Let me go, she whispered, voice breaking. He didn't. He lowered her gently until she was sitting on the floor near the wall, her back pressed to the cold surface, knees bent, breath hitching. Jin-woo crouched in front of her, hands braced on his thighs, his face now level with hers. His voice dropped to a deep murmur. Breathe slowly. She shook her head, tears threatening, her throat tightening painfully. Don't tell me what to do. But her breaths were spiraling, too fast, too sharp, her vision blurring at the edges. Jinwoo's brows drew together. Not in annoyance. Not in anger. In focus. He leaned closer. Look at me. She squeezed her eyes shut. Elsa. There was something in the way he said her name, firm, certain, almost grounding. Her eyes fluttered open despite herself. Follow my breathing, he said. He hated it. Hated that she couldn't control her own body. Hated that the man terrifying her was also the only steady thing in the room. But she couldn't breathe. So she did as he said. Jin-woo inhaled deeply, slow enough for her to see his chest rise. Elsa copied him, shaking, uneven. He exhaled long, controlled. She tried again, her lungs slowly loosening, her heartbeat calming just enough to think. They stayed like that for 20 seconds. 20 seconds that felt like the longest of her life. When she finally caught her breath, Jin-woo watched her quietly, eyes unreadable. You could have fallen, he said. Her brows drew together. Why do you care? He didn't answer immediately. But when he did, she wasn't prepared for it. I don't like seeing you break, he said simply. The confession hit her harder than his threats. She looked away quickly, wiping her face with shaking fingers. Stop acting like you're protecting me. You're the reason I'm scared. Jin-woo rose slowly to his full height, the air around him shifting, thickening. He wasn't looming, just standing, but his presence filled the space so completely her breath thinned again. Without warning, he swept her into his arms. Elsa gasped, grabbing onto his shirt instinctively. Put me down. You're shaking too much to walk. I'm fine. No, he said. You're not. He carried her through the penthouse easily like she weighed nothing. His scent surrounded her, clean, sharp, masculine, with a low warmth that made her dizzy all over again. He didn't take her to a bed. He took her to the living room, soft gray couches, warm lighting, and set her down carefully, placing a blanket over her legs before she could even argue. Elsa pushed it away. Don't be nice to me. It's confusing. Jin-woo straightened, expression unreadable. I'm not trying to be nice. Then what are you doing? His jaw flexed faintly. Keeping you alive. Her eyes widened. What does that mean? He sat on the coffee table directly in front of her, elbows resting on his knees, eyes locked on hers. You ran from your wedding, he said. You humiliated the man who arranged it. So I'm trapped. You're protected. Trapped, she repeated louder. His gaze didn't soften. Protected. She shook her head violently, tears rising again. I don't want this. I don't want you to be the one protecting me. I don't even know you. He leaned in slightly, voice dropping. You will. Her breath caught. And you'll stay here until it's safe. How long is that? I don't know. Her chest tightened painfully. So you're just keeping me? Like a prisoner. Jinwoo's voice went deadly quiet. Like someone I refused to lose. The room froze. Elsa stared at him, heart slamming against her ribs. Why? Why me? For the first time since she met him, Jinwoo's expression shifted. Not cold, not cruel. Something else. Something she couldn't read. You stepped into my car, he said softly. And whether you meant to or not, you chose me. Her lips parted in disbelief. That was an accident. Maybe. His voice dropped lower. But I don't let go of what lands in my hands. A shiver ran down her spine. You don't get to claim me, she whispered. I already did, Jinwoo said. Tao, I'm keeping you alive. His gaze lowered to her trembling legs beneath the blanket. And once you stop shaking, he added quietly, we'll talk about everything else. Elsa swallowed hard. What comes next? Jin-woo stood towering once again. Next, he said, turning toward the kitchen, you eat. I'm not hungry. You will eat, he said without looking back. And then you'll sleep. You haven't closed your eyes in over 24 hours. Her voice cracked. I can't sleep here. You will, he said calmly, opening a cabinet. Because I'll be in the next room. Her heart slammed painfully. Watching me? No. Boss. Guarding you. The distinction made her breath shake. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders, staring at the man who turned her life upside down. Quiet, lethal, possessive, and terrifyingly gentle in ways he didn't even seem aware of. She didn't trust him. He was scared of him. And yet, for the first time all day, she didn't feel hunted. And that terrified her most of all. The penthouse felt too quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Not restful quiet. The kind of quiet that made Elsa's skin buzz, like the air itself was waiting for something to explode. She pulled Jinwoo's blanket tighter around her, trying to keep her thoughts from unraveling. The city lights glittered behind the glass walls, so close, yet impossibly far away. People out there were living normal lives. People with freedom. People who didn't have to be guarded like a hunted animal. People who weren't trapped in a stranger's home. Jinwoo clattered something in the kitchen, metal against wood. The sound snapped Elsa's attention toward him. He moved with silent confidence, sleeves rolled, sharp forearms exposed, veins visible. He was too calm, too unbothered for a man who had practically abducted her. I said I'm not hungry, she called out shakily. He didn't turn around. Your body disagrees. How would you know what my body wants? She snapped. He paused. Then he looked over his shoulder, eyes slow, cold, assessing. Because you're shaking, he said simply. Her lips parted. Damn it, she hadn't even noticed. She curled her fingers under the blanket to hide the tremor. Jinwoo set a bowl in front of her on the coffee table. Rice, soup, something warm. Steam curled upward, softening the icy air between them. Eat. No. Elsa. No, she repeated louder. You can't command me like something you own. I'm not commanding. His voice dropped low. I'm insisting. That's the same thing. Not to me. She glared. I'm not touching that food unless you explain what you want from me. Jinwoo straightened slowly. He stared down at her. No softness. No humor. Just sharp, unreadable intensity. You want the truth? He said. She nodded even though her pulse said run. Jinwoo walked around the coffee table and sat beside her. Too close, thigh nearly touching hers. The heat from his body seeped into the blanket, into her skin, into her breath. She held still, afraid to move. His voice was quiet. I want you safe. That's not the truth, she whispered. His jaw twitched. She was right, and he didn't like that she knew. Slowly, Jinwoo leaned in, eyes never leaving hers. His fingers brushed her chin, not hard, not soft, but enough to tilt her face toward his. I want, he said quietly, the one thing I've never been allowed to have. Her breath hitched. What? You. Her stomach dropped. That's not fair, she whispered. It's not meant to be. Her heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. She pushed his hand away and scrambled off the couch, backing toward the glass wall. Why? She demanded. Why me? What did I ever do? You existed, he said simply. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She stared at him. This terrifying, steady man who spoke like claiming a person was as natural as breathing. Suddenly the door lock beeped. Beep. 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 Elsa froze. Jinwoo's eyes snapped to the door, his body going still like a hunting animal. The air changed. What is that? She whispered. His voice dropped into something colder, sharper. Stay behind me. He didn't yell. He didn't panic. But every muscle in his body sharpened into alertness. He moved toward her, gently pushing her behind him with one arm while his other hand slipped inside his waistband. And pulled out a gun. Elsa's breath broke. Jinwoo, who is that? He didn't answer. The keypad beeped again. Someone was trying to override the penthouse lock. Jinwoo stepped slowly, silently toward the door, gun raised. Stay quiet, he murmured. Elsa pressed her back against the wall, panic swelling in her throat. She thought the penthouse was safe. Jinwoo said no one could reach her here. He lied. Or someone proved him wrong. The final override beeped. A soft click echoed through the penthouse. The door unlocked. Jinwoo stiffened, shoulders tightening. The handle turned. Elsa's breath stopped completely. The door opened. And a man stepped inside. Sharp suit. Cold expression. cruel smile twisting his lips the moment he saw her. "Found you," the man murmured. Elsa's entire body went numb. She knew that voice. Her breath caught as the door swung open and she froze when she saw who stood there. Her boyfriend. Her pulse slammed against her ribs, a sharp rush of disbelief hitting her as he stepped into the Mafia's palace like he owned the place, completely unaware of the danger he had just walked into and the trouble already gathering in the air around him. Jinwoo's gun cocked instantly. "You have 3 seconds. "No," the man said calmly, eyes never leaving Elsa. "You have 3. Elsa's vision blurred. 2 deadly men. 1 doorway. 1 gun already raised. And Elsa trapped between all 3. Her voice cracked into the cold air. "Stop, please don't shoot." But it was too late. Jinwoo fired first. A shattering blast split the air. And the world exploded. Hi viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and watching the story. If you just discovered this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like and share because episode 2 will be dropping very soon, and you definitely don't want to miss it.